Okay, yeah, I guess first question. First memory of AACF for you guys, and kind of thoughts going through it. Any particular memories that kind of stood out for you guys as well? Just kind of want to hear your thoughts.
Okay. Oh, are you taping right now?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you were taping. I thought you were just asking it. Okay.
It's always safe.
It's always safe.
It's always. Oh, just.
We'll keep it on forever. Yeah, we'll just keep it on.
So for me, I moved from Northern California to Southern California, and part of the reason I moved down here was my mother lived in the Valley, and I wanted to be able to spend some time with my mom in the Valley. So I would go for the first couple of weeks. I went back to the Valley with my mom a lot. But then after a while, I realized I wasn't meeting anybody because I was away on the weekends. So very graciously, one weekend, I said, I'll just stay on campus. And Lori said, I said, what are you doing, Lori? And she says, I'm going to a campus fellowship group. Do you want to come? And I think she was really surprised when I said, yeah, sure, I'll go.
I was happy that she said yes.
Because I wasn't a believer at the time. But I'm very social, and so I needed some social interaction. So I went there, and she brought me to it was at the Los Angeles Tennis Center at that time. And I remember walking in, and everybody was very warm and friendly, and they had no idea who I was, so I just appreciated the kindness. And I remember, and you may edit this out if you want, but I remember when I was there, they were doing worship, and I just remember thinking that whoever was leading worship was kind of cute. So I came back the next week. But after a while, God changed my heart, and I noticed that I didn't care about the guy anymore. I was more interested in the worship, and I loved the peace that the people had that were there. That was that peace that I was craving in my life. So the music was much more important. The message was more important than the people I met than that. So God used my own craziness to bring me back.
I'll piggyback off of that.
Okay.
Because, so when I first went to UCLA, my brother actually was a super senior on campus, and he actually was a part of AACF at the time.
Amazing guy.
But I actually was not on board with that when I first came to UCLA. Because, I didn't want to do what my bigger brother was always doing and everything like that. And I was a little bit on that rebellious side when I first came to UCLA. But I lived in the dorms, and I was walking back from my classes through the tennis center, and I heard singing. And even though I had no intentions initially of going to AACF, but my brother was there, that was the AACF meeting that drew me in, because I heard the people singing. I walked past, I looked in, and it was that peace that I saw, and the true worshiping that I saw. That was so different for me at the time. I did grow up I grew up going to church, I would have to say, but singing was just singing for me at that point in time. But there was something more about the worship that was there at UCLA, at AACF, that I wanted to learn more about. And so that actually drew me into that first meeting at UCLA. The first AACF meeting that I went to.
So no pressure, worship leaders, but you have a big job. Okay.
I went to Big Group because of Steph's brother. I had become a Christian the summer before going into UCLA, and I met him there. He was one of the counselors. I also met Steph at the camp, and he invited me when I went on campus at UCLA. He invited me to large group, and so I went, and it was really fun. I had just become a new Christian, and so I was really excited, on fire for the Lord, and so that was the perfect place for the Lord to capture me and capture my heart there. So, yeah, it was an easy fit.
I think for me, when I came to UCLA as a freshman, I was coming from my home church, which was Chinese Christian Alliance Church, and so I was thinking I want to find a similar fellowship or Asian fellowship on campus, and to be honest, I'm not exactly sure how I found out about AACF, but it really has meant so much to me during my time at UCLA.
people were there that I could share with, that supported me. I was so excited when Trish came with me and agreed to come to AACF, and that she, eventually came to know the Lord. My roommate the following year, as a sophomore, also was not a Christian, and God worked in her heart as well, and she came to AACF. And so I really see AACF as a place where we can spread the word to other people, and we can be examples to many other students at UCLA, and made lifelong friendships. And so I think that part is something I really cherish. I feel very blessed.
So for me, I first came to AACF because someone from my church who is older, a year older, was at UCLA, attended AACF, and invited me. So that's my first introduction. But what I remember really appreciating was for those who lived on campus and in the dorms, especially as a freshman, we would always have dinners together after our meetings. Our meetings were in the later afternoon, and so I think everybody just went straight to one cafeteria or another. It was kind of decided upon maybe at the meeting, and it became like our family, because not only were we hanging out in the meetings, but we were also hanging out like in life, and so that was very special to have that family to always count on and to hang out with. I also really appreciated our small groups. We had I don't know, maybe three or four students with a leader who poured into us, met with us every week. We prayed together, learned the Bible together, and the large group sometimes felt a little big. I guess that's why it's called large group, but and maybe a little intimidating for someone who's new, and maybe not only new to the group, but maybe even new to the faith. So the idea of the individual smaller groups, accountability wise and just learning wise, that was really special. And so I was really grateful for that opportunity to meet at a different time, obviously, than our large group at some point during the week to grow together and to get to know each other. And like the whole reason why we're here, I think, is just God has kept us close to Him.
Yeah.
And out of His goodness in doing that, we're still able to connect even after all these years and not seeing each other in forever. Like, honestly, it's been at least 30. I haven't seen Lori for 30 years.
Yeah,
Plus,
that's
Yeah, that's kind of
there are very special relationships once God's involved.
Yeah, I agree.
There is nothing like that Christian brother-sister bond. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone looks the same after 30 years.
With a little help.
Oh, my word. Yes,
Okay.
but of course.
Y'all look lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Mr. Nate?
I guess last question would be, what kind of advice would you have for current AACFers? You guys all have different careers, have families, different pathways. Any advice you would have for people in AACF or for the ladies in AACF? How to best, steward the God's, what God has given you guys, especially in the very formative years of college, right? So, what would you tell, the AACF members to do or not to do?
I would say don't be afraid to get involved. And I remember initially just thinking, wow, I'm amongst all these like people that are so good at singing or so good at, you know, leading this or doing that. You know, who am I? Like, and it took a while to feel comfortable, I guess, to just jump in and serve. And I remember learning that lesson and learning that whatever gifts that God has given you, to just use it for your fellowship group. And, you know, it's not, to just be faithful to what God has given you to use. And so reach out to somebody or, you know, just join the worship team. You don't have to be the best singer out there. I wasn't. But I still joined because I felt like God wanted me to, you know, just use what I had.
Yeah.
And by doing that, even though, you know, I wasn't like the best musician, it was a joy. And, you know, I was able to serve, you know, alongside, you know, other people here, and just be blessed by that. And so, yeah. So
good.
just get involved.
Yeah, that's good.
I think I would say that, you know, even though AACF will be like your family, your spiritual family, just to remember to, you know, put yourself out there and to share the word with non-believers at UCLA. I think you'd be surprised at what kind of impact you make, and what kind of example you are. So even though I think AACF is like, you know, your kind of foundation and base and support, but also at the same time, I think we should, or just remember to go out there and to share God's word.
I say, you know, it's very easy to drift in your faith. I think you really have to get on it. It's almost like a sailboat, right? If you don't have a rudder going there, you can just kind of get off course very quickly. And so try to really focus and make that your priority every day. You know, really check yourself, see where you're at, check your attitude, make sure you're reading God's word, make sure you're attending church and fellowshipping with other people. And like Steph is saying, don't, use the gifts that God gives you and go out and serve. And because you need to invest, you won't get much out of your faith if you don't put much into it, right? So really just seek after God, and He will never leave you nor forsake you.
I would say that because you're in such a unique season of your life, ladies and men, but you really need to ask the Lord to give your sense of identity to yourself. Like, you need to kind of ask Him who He made you to be and be comfortable in your own skin. I know you're still trying to get into that skin and being understanding what that skin looks like. But it's critical to know that you were wonderfully formed in your mother's womb, that you're valuable, that you're worthy, and that He is enough for you. And for girls, you know, I mean, you know, we get a little catty sometimes. It doesn't ever change, really. But we also can learn to encourage one another and to really highlight each other's strengths and exhort them when they're weak. And we work beautifully in God's orchestra with Him as the conductor. So just really grow in Him and let Him kind of establish who He made you to be and what your purpose is in His kingdom. And He'll use you for His glory. And it's going to be beautiful. And you'll have beautiful friendships that can last a lifetime.
I think for me, it took a lot for you all to get to UCLA. You're probably all really hard workers, amazing students, high achievers involved in a ton